Hey team, Luke at Crusader Machining. Welcome back for another video. Today we're going to go over something pretty cool, a project that I was starting on last week, finished up yesterday. Take a look at this part. 437 stock or 7/16 by roughly 12 inches long with one groove over here, one groove over here. How do you make it? Well, very simple. If you have to make one part, just grab a piece of stock, throw it in a manual lathe, face it, chamfer it, groove it, flip it over, face it, chamfer it, groove it. Simple. Got to make one, 10 minutes, I'm done. Herein lies our conundrum. How do you make this if you have to make 10,000 of them and they all have to hold your plus or minus 5 on your length, 5 thou tolerance on the groove diameter, and you have to make them from 12-foot bars. That is very different set of circumstances versus making one. And that is what we're going to cover in this video. When it comes to manufacturing in a job shop environment, and higher quantities are the name of your game, automation is the key. When we have to make thousands of the same part, there's no way in heck I'm going to have an operator sit there and make one at a time. At least we're going to try to everything we can do to avoid that. So what do? On this part, we are running it on our 32mm Swiss machine or our sliding headstock. This is the ideal part for a Swiss machine. Long and thin, meaning our overall length to diameter ratio, this is 12 inches long and we're 7/16 diameter or 0.437 inches. My chance of deflection is high. If we weren't running it in a sliding headstock machine and you were to run it in a conventional, say, slant bed lathe, and you were going to try to feed this out, say you'd feed it out and then you could try to get another feed out, but the problem is you're not going to have any support at the front of the bar. The chances of it deflecting or wobbling are really, really high. This is where a sliding headstock comes in. So we're going to take a closer look at that on how we automated running this part using a Swiss machine. This is our Swiss machine. We have our main side, we have our sub. We are in the middle of running this production job, so I stopped it. That's why you can see all this beautiful oil here. I have covered Swiss in a couple other videos. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But one of the beauties of the Swiss is it can feed out my bar a tremendous length. So here's my part that I was holding up a moment ago. And this is how long it's actually sticking out in the machine before I transfer it. Now, the beauty of using a Swiss machine for something like this is that I have our sub-spindle for rigidity. Use our sub-spindle to grab the part, and then it's going to feed all the way through the sub side and dump out on the other side. We do our safe cutoff at the beginning. Sub side is machining our back face and our back groove. So now it's actually doing a part support and transfer, and it pushed that other part through the sub. Look at how long that's sticking out. To see that part from that sub spindle get shoved all the way through. Sub spindle machining, as we looked at a moment ago. Got to get rid of that dwell time. Shoves it right through. Now it's pulling it out. Look at that stroke. Grab it all the way again. Transfer. Beautiful. And now the question is, naturally, well, hey, you're feeding that part through the sub. What happens when that fills up? Check this out. This was pretty cool. Our normal 32mm Swiss operate like this. We got our bar feed control, machine, chip conveyor, and then this is usually on the back of the machine is like a little tin work. And then our parts come out of our part conveyor onto this nice tray here. Don't take any damage. Wonderful. They pack up. We inspect. We put them in a basket. But over here we did something different. We took off this back sheet work, which is pretty standard among Swiss machines. That's why they give you the opportunity to take that off so you can feed through the back. And that's exactly what we're doing there. The part comes through, feeds down into this little tray, down into this, or feeds down in this little channel, ends up in the tray. We inspect, they go into the basket. And this is what it looks like as it's running. It just follows that sub-spindle around. And I posted a short up the other day about it, and someone had mentioned that they would tighten that up so it's not wobbling back and forth. But believe it or not, that actually helps us to shimmy the part down. So we probably could have made that channel, maybe a foot shorter, but it's actually working out good that way. As it's whipping back and forth, it shuffles the part down. So that's how we handle a long part like that. And nothing that I went over is a trade secret. There's people I know that have ran these Swiss machines that have made 80-inch long parts. I knew one guy that, well, I heard a story of him making a 100-inch long part on one of these Swiss machines, which is incredible. I would absolutely love to see that. And I think he had to make like 5 parts or something like that with a couple of little set screw holes throughout it. So that's pretty cool. But nothing that I went over here is trade secret. Anybody that's been in a Swiss house long enough knows, or setting up or programming Swiss, running long parts on a Swiss are common. That's what the machines were designed for, long, thinner parts. Normally a Swiss machine would be designed to have a little bit more machining than what's done on here. But for us, having a Swiss machine definitely makes parts like this not only easy, but possible. And it's implementing automation. We're gonna let that machine run, let that light stay green, while I'm busy playing Angry Birds and video games while this machine is running. Just kidding. I'm over on the other side of the shop setting up another machine or doing other stuff I have to do while it's running. That's automation. Implementing the bar feed, the CNC itself, of course, and then our fancy rigged up parts tray, parts catcher. Hope you guys liked that video. Where's my Swiss people out there? Do you operate, do you run, do you program Swiss? Have you made long parts that are a lot more complicated, intricate, and difficult than this one? If so, drop a comment below. Let's get the conversation going. Find me on all my socials, Luke at Crusader Machining. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.